You may have heard yesterday that President Zelensky and Ukraine may become a part of NATO, NATO. Please hold this thought in your minds. For if Crimea falls out of Russia's hands, that might be the last thought you will have before we all die. How are we gonna die? Nuclear war. This is a declaration of peace. Before President Zelensky joins NATO. Who is President Zelensky? You know, he's the president of Ukraine, of unclear political background, unclear corruption background, who is putting us all today in great danger. You know, Mr. President Biden of the United States of America. What is the role of the United States in the politics between Russia and Ukraine? The United States have never invaded Russia. There hasn't been a need. But we all know that there has never been a good relationship between the countries. We all know why. But for the purposes of this video, it's not relevant. What is relevant is that if Mr. Zelensky joins NATO, Crimea is going to fall under NATO's regional authority. Now you know Mr. President Putin from Russia. He will not give up on Crimea. And like I said before, if you want to leave, if you want to keep holding your families, hold the thought, because Crimea might be the last thing you will think of before you die. President Putin has an honor and a responsibility to keep Crimea for the Russian people, for it is their lifeline. You all know that Crimea has not always been Ukraine's, and it's not. It belongs to Russia and to the Russian people. This is how Mr. Putin sees this, and we all may perish by nuclear war if Ukraine is going to join NATO. Why is Putin worried about Ukraine joining NATO? Because until now, there has not been a need to invade Russia. If Ukraine joins NATO and Zelensky keeps invading Russia, now all NATO members, including the United States, can engage in war with Russia. There are several politics going on here. United States wanting to have an authority and a route to invade Russia. Zelensky wants to become part of NATO so that he can also have power and the support of other NATO members to also invade Russia. President Putin knows what he is facing in order to liberate Crimea or not see it fall on the other hands than Russia's hands. He knows he is putting his whole country and his people in the face of nuclear war. And why is he talking about nuclear war only? Because it's the only thing that can reach the United States by air. There is no need to transport these nuclear armaments by land. The only way for Putin to wage war against the United States is through nuclear war. And what is the role of NATO Secretary General? He should see the politics here. He should see that this is a regional conflict between Putin and Zelensky, and it should be left at that. No other country should be immersed and damaged by regional affairs and politics that have not been clear for millions of years. Western countries, Eastern countries should not be involved in this war between Russia and Ukraine. On the other hand, if NATO allies would have not been giving supplies to Ukraine to continue this war, Russia and Ukraine would have effectively agreed to stop the war and somehow would have come to middle ground terms and stop all this mayhem and war that has been ongoing for almost 2 years now. If you aid and abet a war, you're also a criminal. It's not your war. It's a regional war and could have been put to a stop a long time ago. But you have all decided to continue supplying money and armaments to Ukraine. Zelensky is doing this to become more powerful, to be able to keep Crimea for himself. Putin is putting his people, his whole country, in great danger to save Crimea from anyone's hands but Russia's. He wants Crimea for Russia because it's Russia's lifeline. And he knows the only way to do this is by nuclear war. And he is in his best intention to proceed with this should Zelensky joins NATO. He will do it. Do not blame Putin for not telling you what he thinks he will do, because he has been telling us what he will do for a couple of years now. For many years now. For almost a decade now. Do not forget someone's intention if they have been clear about it. And like I said, only nuclear war will decide the fate between Zelensky and Putin or Russia and Ukraine. And the United States has an ongoing national crisis, an ongoing debt with the world, 4 trillion millions, 4 trillion in debt. The United States citizens also have almost 10 billion in debt, personal debt, credit card debt, loans, student loans debt. We are all immersed in great debt. The United States is in no position to wage a war when here in our soil, we are not doing slightly better with this inflation. There is a national crisis. There is international debt. The United States is not a strong country as it seems to be. It is a strong militarily, but not economically, and its people are suffering. Mr. Putin, he should find a way to come to an agreement with President Zelensky before putting his own people at risk. He knows that over 38 countries are going to be invading Russia should he decide to wage this nuclear war. In overall, neither Ukraine, Russia, or the United States, or any country out there is going to benefit from these bad politics and politicians. We, the people, are going to be the collateral damage of this war. We, the people, we need to speak up and strongly oppose any violence, any war, mostly nuclear war. You can go online and you can research what a nuclear war can do to countries. Years of despair, years trying to come back to normalcy, years trying to make the economy work again, years trying to go back to a sound infrastructure, thousands and millions of deaths, damage, collateral damage. We, the people, we're going to suffer this war. Then, what to do? This is a declaration of peace. President Zelensky, President Putin, President Biden, you all know the politics behind this war. You all know what you're attempting to do or what you're not attempting to do. But what you don't have in your minds is the well-being of your people, of your citizens. And you run a country, but you do not own our lives. You are a president now. You tomorrow will not be a president when somebody else is in your position. So today you have an authority and a right to your people to ensure war doesn't happen and to ensure that we are all in safe hands and to ensure your leadership speaks of who you are, not of who we don't want in the respective countries. We do not want presidents that bring the world into a brink of destruction and nuclear war. This is not the kind of people we want as our presidents. The military cannot have more value than human life. And this is what is happening today in the world. You have given too much value to the military, the weapons, the arsenals, the guns. This needs to stop. We, the people, we do not want war. We don't want nuclear war. We don't want any more violence, death, conflicts, bad politics, and bad politicians. We need good leadership so that we don't see ourselves in the brink of destruction like right now. Clear your heads. Think this through. Because Crimea is to President Putin as the Ganges is to India, or as the Amazon is to the countries that border the Amazon forest, or as the Colorado River is to the Americans, or as the Nile is to the Egyptians. And he's not gonna let it go. And like I said, we are at the brink of war, and this needs to stop.